Can you beat Magolor Epilogue as a pacifist? Well, not really, but how many enemies do I have to kill to beat the game? And if you enjoyed this video, then crawl to the subscribe button. Alright, let's start the challenge. So the intro level was pretty easy near the beginning, but of course, in every single level in the game, there are these battle arenas. So I killed 6 enemies here, and then I beat the level. But now 1-1 was pretty easy, but I was still trying to get used to my movement options. And this guy kept on following me, which was pretty annoying. And when I got to the end of the level, I fought these guys, and this enemy was still following me, but thankfully I got the 7 enemies and moved on. 1-2 had this mushroom guy in the worst spot possible, but thankfully I can pass him easily, and there were some tight squeezes in this level, but then I killed 7 enemies and beat the level. 1-3 was basically an auto-scroller, but it wasn't too hard thankfully, and I killed 11 enemies here. Okay, I promise that this will get better. Maybe. And this world's boss was pretty easy, even though there were some enemies that I had to avoid. And after this boss, we have 2-1, and this first section was pretty easy, but then we have this little tutorial area, which sucks, because it's basically telling me that I had to kill these enemies, and I don't wanna. So what I had to do was, I had to touch this guy once, so he could start chasing me, and blow up. And I did this 4 times, and then I got to the end, and I killed 9 enemies here. But then we have 2-2. And this level was pretty interesting because of this thing. Normally you're just trying to protect it and stuff like that, but what happens if you don't protect it? Well, that's exactly what I did for every single one, and I didn't kill any enemies in this level, which was great. But then in 2-3 I killed 9 enemies here. 2-4 was pretty annoying to get through, but in the end I killed 13 enemies here. Oh my god, I was completely wrong. Things are just getting worse and worse. But whatever, the level is over, and the boss was normal except for these little fish things that were pretty easy to dodge thankfully. But now let's move on to World 3, if you call these things worlds. 3-1 was pretty hard near the beginning just because of these guys, but after I passed that, we got to the end, and I only killed 2 enemies here, which is great news, but these bird things took me a while to kill, and after a little bit, I beat the level. 3-2 was one of the hardest levels in a Kirby game easily, but this thing made the experience really awesome. 3-3 was very slow, and this part was kinda hard, but then I killed a total of 18 enemies? Oh my god, you guys are gonna go crazy in the comments. 3-4 was another auto-scroller, which was fine, and I killed a total of 12 enemies here, and after the boss, we could finally get to the final world. 4-1 was pretty easy near the beginning, but then we get to this key area, and it was pretty hard to pass through these guys, but after a little bit, I finally found a way to pass these guys, and then I made it to the end of the level. And there were a lot of enemies that died on their own, which is great, but I killed 9 enemies still. But then after that level, 4-2 was pretty easy, but this part was a little bit hard to squeeze through, and then I killed 11 enemies here. 4-3 was a boss rush basically, and I only killed 3 enemies here, and at the end I didn't have to kill any enemies, which was great. And then we have the very last level before the boss. 4-4 was pretty interesting because this level had a lot of enemies in my way, but at least I didn't kill any enemies here, but it was still pretty annoying. But then at the very end, I killed 23 enemies. Oh my god. And then after the boss, we can finally beat the final boss of the entire game. And after this first phase, we get to this tree thing, and during this boss, sometimes random enemies show up for no reason, but then they disappear only after a few seconds. And then, just like that, I beat the boss. And this challenge was very fun to do, and I killed a total of, okay, are you guys ready for this? I killed 145 enemies, including the bosses, and oh my god, that is a lot of deaths. But hey, maybe in this video, Kirby will never kill a soul. I did say maybe. Alright, and that's the end of the video. Okay, bye.